And team, I think if we're ready, we're just going to hop in. Good morning, everybody. Um, don't know where everyone is logging in from today, but I know it's a beautiful sunny day here in New York City where I am. I'm wishing good weather to everyone else in their morning. I hope it's not too early for you wherever you are. And we're glad to have you here. My name is Gretchen Hahn, and I am a recruiting specialist in the Graduate College of Engineering at Northeastern University. And we're so excited today to talk to you all about the wonderful offerings within our global campus network, specifically on our Toronto campus. I think the Canadian campuses are such a unique little gem in the tapestry that is Northeastern. And I've got some really excellent colleagues on staff and who are current students that are going to speak about their experiences today that I'm really excited for you all to get to hear about. Before we dive in with the Toronto portion of the presentation, I'm just going to start with a little bit of an overview about Northeastern and the College of Engineering, just in case anyone here is just encountering Northeastern for the first time, or they know a little bit, but they want to know more, and that's why they came to this webinar. Just really give everyone a picture of what it is that we do here. So Northeastern University is a top-ranked R1 research and experiential learning university. That experiential learning component is the bread and butter of what we do in Northeastern, and that is primarily achieved through our co-op opportunities that we bring to students. We're currently ranked #1 in co-op and internships in the country, according to USA and World News today. And it continues to be the driving force behind all academic programming at the university, and on all of our GCN campuses, that same spirit of experiential learning is alive and well in what we do. The university is compiled of 10 different colleges and schools with over 50,000 students across our campuses, with degrees ranging from the bachelor level all the way up to doctorate, along with some graduate certificates in there. As part of that R1 research denotation, we currently are working with 296 million external research awards across the university that again help us achieve those goals of experiential learning. And some of you might know we are primarily based in Boston. That is sort of our flagship, but we have built this robust and really beautiful global university system comprised of 13 different campuses. If you're kind of wondering what that entails, our global university system is basically an opportunity that the university saw and a demand that they saw for STEM careers in engineering and computer science across tech hubs in the US and in Canada, and meeting that demand by bringing our flexible experiential learning model to those cities. So as you can see in the top corner, we've got Boston, which is a big biomedical hub and sort of the beginning of everything that is Northeastern. And then it completely expands out from Arlington, Virginia, to Seattle, Washington, to Portland, Maine, to 2 campuses in California. And then, of course, our 2 wonderful campuses that we have in Canada, Vancouver and Toronto on the East and West Coast. So a really wide spread from us in areas where we see tech emerging and looking for more people to be a part of it. And Northeastern answered that call. For the College of Engineering itself, our enrollment is currently just over 10,000 students as of fall 2024, with about 6,200 of that being at the graduate level. Like I said, academic programming from the bachelor's to the PhD level, with over 110 different academic degrees, certificates, and minors, to really shape the engineering education that students want, tailored to those goals that they have and the needs that they have based on what they want to accomplish in their career. 403 full-time faculty members across the College of Engineering on all campuses, 248 of which are tenure and tenure track, which again relates to that R1 research denotation that we have and maintain. And then you can see a little bit more of our research funding over there on the far right. I just want to highlight up 35% versus where we last were in 2020 when they calculated all of this. So research and that funding is very important to everything that we do here. They're constantly looking for new ways to bring research to students and finding ways to fund it. And I just think that's a really cool part of what we do here. top ranked 34 best engineering graduate school by USA and World News, and a top 35 undergrad engineering school as well. So it's something we take a lot of pride in and hope to deliver the best. One final look at some of our academic programming that we have over here, all the different levels of PhDs, all the way down to our graduate certificates, and the campus offerings that we have on our global campus network are listed to the right. I just want to highlight our Toronto offerings, which include cyber physical systems, and information systems bridge. Some of our most flexible and in-demand degrees that we have in the College of Engineering are these things that we have brought to the Toronto campus. They help students go in a lot of different directions within the tech industry. And yeah, can take in a lot of people from a lot of backgrounds to help them do the things that they want to accomplish. And with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Michael to talk a little bit about the wonderful campus in Toronto.
Thank you very much, Gretchen. I appreciate that intro. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining our session today. I am the admissions recruiter for the Toronto campus. I'm joining you today from just outside the city of Toronto, where I reside. And yeah, let's give you a little bit of an overview as to what Northeastern University in Toronto looks like. So, next slide, please, Gretchen. So why Toronto? So you heard a little bit about the expansion of Northeastern University outside of the main campus in Boston. They've expanded their footprint significantly into regional campuses. Toronto was the first regional campus outside of the United States, its first international campus. And as Gretchen had mentioned, these are key locations, key hubs for introducing a campus. For Toronto specifically, quite frankly, it's the economic heart of Canada. It is a major world-class city and the most multicultural city in the world. So, in terms of building a campus, attracting programs, talent, from an employer and industry perspective, it just made perfect sense to launch a campus here in Toronto. We've been admitting students in Toronto now since 2018. Of course, that was a little bit before my time. And then we had just one college and just a few programs as part of our portfolio. Today, as Gretchen gave you a bit of an outline, we have grown to include other colleges, College of Professional Studies and College of Science, but of course, the College of Engineering is a significant college and a growing portfolio at the Toronto location. And again, it is attracting students from tech backgrounds, but also non-technical backgrounds as well too, with the introduction of our bridge program. And we'll learn a little bit more about that as we go. But Toronto as a whole, just in terms of why it makes sense for Northeastern to be here, but also why it makes sense for students to come study here and think about Toronto as a destination for grad school. Almost 40% of Canadian businesses have their headquarters based here in the Greater Toronto area. As we heard earlier, it's a significant major tech hub across North America, not just in Canada. Its population obviously is quite dense and significant in and around the city of Toronto. Opportunities for job growth is obviously highest in the Greater Toronto area. We boast the second largest financial services sector in, again, North America, not just Canada, next to Wall Street. In fact, our current location right now is in the heart of the financial district, right at the corner of King and Bay Street, if that means anything to anybody familiar with the city. And then, of course, we have a growing life sciences sector in and around the city of Toronto as well. When we think about all of the activity that's happening in this space, um, almost half of it is taking place in the province of Ontario, which is where Toronto resides. And a majority of that is in and around the city of Toronto, from small incubator companies to large blue chip companies. All of those opportunities exist. There is significant employer demand. There are skills gaps that exists in and around the city of Toronto in many different industries, many different disciplines. And so it makes perfect sense for Northeastern to be here to help um, close those gaps and prepare our students for successful outcomes after graduation. Next slide, please. So just a quick rundown again. I won't get into the programs in great depth here. We'll learn a little bit about one of those through our student ambassador, Kudzai, a little bit later in this session here. But we offer three programs from the College of Engineering. And as I mentioned earlier, that will continue to grow. We have a couple of more programs slated to launch in Toronto in the fall of 2026. So stay tuned for more information on those exciting new programs. Currently, we offer a master's degree in information systems, a master's degree in information systems bridge. And again, the key differentiator between these two programs is really um, it's open to everybody, essentially. So those individuals who wanting to take advantage of these growing opportunities in and around the city of Toronto, maybe they want to pivot in their careers and they don't have the technical background or expertise to make sort of a foothold in these hold in these industries. The bridge program would be your entry into the world of information systems. And then, of course, cyber physical systems, or most people would know it or refer to it as sort of the Internet of Things, which is a major focus of the cyber physical systems program here in Toronto. Next slide, please. See where we're at. As of this morning, we currently sit in as I mentioned, the heart of the financial services district in Toronto. We're at the corner of King and Bay. We sit in the First Canadian Place, which is affectionately known as it is the headquarters of the Bank of Montreal, one of the big five banks here in Canada. Um, we have our campus currently occupying two floors in this building, but I say effective today because at the end of business day today, we will officially be moving into our new campus, which is just blocks away, a little further west of the city. And if you advance to the next slide, we'll get a little bit of a sneak peek as to what that looks like. So, as I mentioned, we have been admitting students here in Toronto since 2018. We started with literally just a handful of students during that time. We have grown today across all of our programs and colleges here in Toronto to close to 1,800 graduate students in Toronto. We've quite simply just outgrown our space at First Canadian Place. And so we will be moving to a brand new standalone campus at the corner of Queen and Peter Street. Um, all students who will be joining the Toronto campus starting with their fall classes will be reporting to this campus. It will be officially open this coming Monday. And while there will still largely be construction taking place on several of the floors as we get started, full completion is expected by the spring session, which will be the start date in January. We're very excited about this because we're hearing from a number of individuals across the city. Hey, I walked by your campus today. It looks fantastic. That's something that we just don't have right now where we are. We're sort of hidden in an office tower at First Canadian Place with literally thousands of other companies. So we're very excited to have a fully branded street level presence now. It'll be much more part and integrated within the local Toronto community. We just held an event in and around the area earlier this week, and it's quite a bustling area. So we're moving away from the financial district into more of the fashion entertainment district. That's kind of where the campus borders. Um, Very, very easy to get to. I'll talk a little bit about that on a future slide, but we're very excited about this and can't wait to bring you more information as the campus continues to open and we start to host some tours and give you some sneak peeks as to all the great things that are going on here. Next slide, please. So getting around the city of Toronto, in fact, in this image right here, you can actually see our current campus. This is, the major intersection where we're currently located. So you can really see, as in most major city centers, there's quite a lot of hustling going on. Significant transportation hub. As I mentioned earlier, I live just outside the city of Toronto. I commute into the city on what's known as the GO train or the Government of Ontario Transit. Very, very easy to get into. So it really connects a lot of the surrounding suburbs into the main city of Toronto. So whether you're living to, west as I am, to the east or even north, and that continues to expand further north, seemingly monthly. Um, there's lots of opportunity to access the city of Toronto through transportation. Once you're in the city of Toronto, you can see in the background of this image here a streetcar known as the TTC or the Toronto Transit Commission. They operate above ground streetcars and buses and also operate an underground subway system that connects all the major boroughs or neighborhoods of the city of Toronto. So, once again, coming to Northeastern University does not require you to live in the city of Toronto to access the city and our campus. We have students coming to us from quite a distance, and again, we'll hear more from Kudzai in a little bit about his experience and journey to Northeastern. Um, but we have students from all over the city. Um, what is unique about the city of Toronto as well, too, from a getting around perspective, is what's affectionately known as the path. And what this is an underground pedestrian network that connects. When I come into the city, I land in Union Station, which is the major train hub. From Union Station, I could effectively walk underground to our campus without ever popping up above ground. And if you've ever been to the city of Toronto or Canada in general, we have four seasons here, and the winters get pretty cold and pretty wet. And you will appreciate having an underground pathway or pedestrian network to get in and around. Literally hundreds of shops and restaurants line this underground pedestrian network. So for, lunches, entertainment, services, anything that you need to get by can be found within this underground network. Um, we will stay tuned and please stay tuned into our web page, specifically the event page. We host a number of events virtually and on campus to get you more acquainted with, campus faculty and staff, meet our campus partners, and also just really more robust information sessions on the city of Toronto itself. Next slide, please. Okay, I'm just going to give a high-level overview of what students can expect. Again, we'll sort of cross over a little bit and hear some more in-depth information about this. But in terms of student life and what the Toronto campus has to offer, a significant portion of our student body are international students coming from all parts of the globe. And so, of course, we have an international student advising office referred to as the Office of Global Services, specifically the Office of Global Services Canada. They have certified immigration specialists on staff to support our students with all of their pre-arrival requirements. They work with our students to help them remain compliant with respect to their immigration documents while they're in school completing their program. And they are available for one-on-one consultations with students throughout their journey here at Northeastern. Our academic advising team, um, I think I've got some more in-depth slides here, but I think this is probably just a good place to sit for a bit and describe them. The academic advising team, each of our colleges has their own independent, unique academic advising team. Depending on the college, that obviously your academic advisor will vary. Initially, when you're accepted to a program here at Northeastern in Toronto, for your first term or semester, for a lot of our programs, there isn't really a lot of variability or option. There's some core foundational courses that are required. So the initial onboarding is quite streamlined. But in just a few days from now, we'll begin our orientation schedule. And those will be opportunities for our incoming students for this fall to meet with their academic advising team. So you'll learn all about what's required from day one all the way through your program. You'll learn about how to interact with your academic advisors. You'll learn about things like focus areas. I know from my perspective as a recruiter, I get a lot of questions about, do I need to declare a focus area? What's that going to look like? You'll learn all about these focus areas. And the reality is, your focus may shift during your time in the program, and that's okay as well. Your academic advising team is there to really help map out what that pathway will look like towards graduation. Co-op and career advising, we learned about this a little bit earlier in the session today. This is really really a founding principle and core tenet of what we do here at Northeastern University from the very beginning, integrating industry and employment opportunities with coursework in the classroom is really key to the learning experience. Our career development team and career advising team will be that key team to support your efforts throughout the journey here. And it's not just about co-op. Um, we sort of fall under this larger term of experiential learning. Co-op certainly is a key piece of that, but experiential learning touches a lot of what we do here at Northeastern, from employment treks, depending on your program. You may be actually visiting employers and industries out and around the city. There's lots of opportunities for career fairs and professional networking on campus to prepare our students for either co-ops or postgraduate work opportunities. We host a number of, mock interview workshops, resume writing prep workshops. All of that is really key to what the co-op and career advising team does, not only to sort of maximize your success on campus, but also to prepare you for life after graduation as well. Student services and wellness support. This really falls largely under student life. So everything with regards to extracurricular activities, activities that are taking place in and around campus, the student services team will support you in these endeavors. We recognize that, as I mentioned, many of our students are international students. Many of them are leaving home for the first time, living in a foreign city for the first time, and that comes with it a lot of angst beyond just uh, preparing for grad school, but sort of, living and getting around in a foreign city. So our student services and wellness support teams help and create opportunities for our students to really enrich their lives outside of the classroom. It's important to have that balance between study and getting around and getting comfortable with a new and exciting city like Toronto. And then, of course, we have our student interest groups. And I won't dig too deeply into this because these groups literally are growing seemingly on a monthly basis. What our student interest groups are all about is really passion projects, if you will. They are communities that are built and created by students. One of the great things about being outside of the main campus of Boston is that the regional campuses are very small and nimble. So if something doesn't exist, you have the opportunity to create that and spearhead that here at the City of Toronto. And that's really how a lot of our student interest groups have been created and developed. So that you may have a special interest for the arts or photography or investing. And you might want to create that through the, collaboration with our student services teams and create these groups and these community groups that really help to foster these interests. Now, the programs that we offer here as well through the colleges, they also have their special interest groups. So whether it's information systems or whether it's regulatory affairs, we have special student interest groups dedicated to these as well. They all have LinkedIn addresses and profiles. So you can find out more information through the Toronto webpage and also start connecting with these individuals even before you arrive here on campus as well, if you find something of particular interest. But so next slide, please, Gretchen. I think these are probably more in-depth slides of what I've just covered. Maybe we could just sort of advance through these quickly. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, and there's the student interest group. So that brings us to our next guest, Kudzai, one of our student ambassadors here at the College of Engineering in Toronto. I'll let Kudzai introduce himself more formally and talk about his journey thus far here in Toronto. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Greetings, everybody. My name is Kudzai, and I'm a master's student for the Cyber Physical Systems program in Toronto. And my area of focus is Internet of Things. So yeah, just talking about my journey here, I've completed my first semester, and I'd say the journey is quite interesting. I'm really learning new technologies. So my background is basically in IT support and administration. So I decided to choose cyber physical systems because it integrates a lot of my background that I had coming from abroad. And I would say in the experience learning back in Toronto, it also gives you an opportunity to tour the city. So like Michael was talking about the transit system, it's quite a unique experience because you can literally um, be able to do a lot of things, travel, but you'll be traveling underground. You won't be on the main ground, and it's quite interesting. And you actually literally find a lot of shops and restaurants that along the way to go to the campus. So yeah, it's quite an interesting experience, particularly if you're coming from a different part of the world where they do not have a transit system in place. And I would say Northeastern also has some very interesting student interest groups. Um, I think the number of groups that are available, uh, you'll be able to find something that you'll be interested in. So, like for example, if you're someone who is interested in like traveling or touring spaces, you can actually join the Global Learning Society within Northeastern. Um, and there are also other groups that you'll be able to join. Um, the student interest group. I think we'll share the links with the team here so that if people are interested to know more about those interest groups, you'll be able to find something that would interest you before you arrive. And I think the other thing that is quite unique about Northeastern is the network that you get exposed to. You're going to find that when you arrive, there are a lot of departments that are willing to help. Like Michael was talking about the academic advisors. Um, you also have co-op advisors as well. So whenever you are not sure about the pathway that you wish to take, you can actually make use of the academic advisors and as well as the co-op advisors. And then the campus also has other areas of interest, I would say, like for health, mental health issues. You can actually you can actually get enormous support from that. And there are also other departments that can help you with personal situations that you may have. And also, if you have challenges with your finances, you can also work with the finance department and Office of Global Students within the Northeastern campus. So there are many resources to help you out and to help you settle in Toronto. And I would like to believe it's also the same for Boston, if Boston is your destination. Yeah, I would welcome any questions that you may have, and I'll be glad to answer. Thank you.
I would love if you could also maybe take a moment and talk about coming out of your first semester. What was that first set of classes in your schedule? Since a lot of these students, that would be the first thing that they experience on the Toronto campus. Can you talk to us a little bit about the classes and sort of meeting all of your classmates for the first time?
Okay, yeah, sure. I would say, like my program in our class, it's a very small class, so the student to lecturer ratio is quite good because in our class I think we are about 5, so you get like a one-to-one professional help from the professors. And I would like to say, like, for the first courses that we did, my first course was like on application development. So you're actually being taught with professors who are experts in that particular field, industry experts. And my other course was fundamentals of Internet of Things. This course like opened up a lot of technologies that are quite difficult to find even on YouTube. Just so you find you gain a lot of experience working with the professors, and it's quite really interesting because the program is designed with the industry in mind. So it's when you get started, you're already getting the real world experience that is more relevant to the current IT sector and the businesses within Toronto area. So yeah, I would say the courses, they're manageable. There are some aspects of it that can be challenging, but with the professor's help, you'll be able to navigate through the the new technologies that you come across, and the learning environment is really relaxed. And I'm pretty sure that for most people, it will be an enjoyable experience learning here at the Toronto campus. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Kudzai. There's a question that came through in the chat, and someone wants to know where you're coming from prior to Northeastern. So, wondering if you might be able to just briefly describe your journey to Northeastern, how Northeastern sort of landed on your radar, and then specifically the Toronto campus. What was appealing about this destination for you?
Okay, great. Yeah, so I'm coming from Zimbabwe, which is down in Southern Africa continent. Yeah, we are closer to South Africa and Zambia for those who know their geography. Yeah, so I was my background is I do hold a bachelor's degree, a bachelor's honors degree in information technology, and um, when I was looking to do my master's, I was looking for a program that would integrate both my technical expertise as well as the software part of it. So, as an IT support professional myself, I wanted something that would help me build, you know, um, real world applications, but that are tied to trending technology the hard way. So when I was looking, I found that Northeastern has these cyber physical systems, and it is primarily dealing with sensor technologies. So you're dealing with smart technologies like Bluetooth low energy. You'll be dealing with technologies like LoRa Wi-Fi. So these technologies, they help me to build systems that integrate variety of sensors. So it could be, temperature sensors, heart rate sensors, anything that is deemed a sensor. So with this program, you are able to create a full IoT system, and you'll be able to acquire knowledge on the full stack of software. So I think this is a great balance between being a technical person and also being business oriented.
That's so great, Kudzai. I would love if you could answer one last question. It's going to be a really easy one. And then if anyone else has a question, feel free to put it in the Q&A in the chat, and we'll get to it at the end. If there's anything else that you want to ask. But what would you say is your biggest advice for someone who is at the beginning of their grad school journey, maybe getting ready to move to campus for the first time? What's the biggest advice you would give them now that you've done your first semester at Northeastern?
Okay. Yeah. So personally, I would say it's really important to understand your personal strength, because when you're choosing a master's program, I would advise not to just choose it because someone else has done it, but choose a master's program that aligns with what you like doing. So if your career is going to be like in chemical engineering, try to find programs that align with what you're trying to achieve. So I'd say, like, for Northeastern, the beauty about the master's programs is the flexibility that they give you. So you are able to create your own program plan based on the courses that they are offering you. So like in my instance, cyber physical systems is 4 core courses, and then the remaining courses, the other 4 courses that you choose, are elective. In other programs, you can have 1 core course and you have 7 elective courses. Now, for cyber physical systems, you find there are so many programs, there's so many courses that you can now take, that you can now divert into, um, based on the courses that are being offered. So I would say, for someone getting started, I would say just first find what your passion is. Once you identify that, you can always go on to our program site, where you can actually get to see all the courses that are being offered under a specific program. That way, you'll be able to craft your career path that way. So yeah, I think that's the best advice I can give to anyone who wants to start this whole journey. It can be a bit intimidating, but with the help you get from Northeastern, it will be much easier. Yeah.
Oh, what a great answer. And I think a great segue into this next section of what next steps can look like for people. I do just want to highlight before I move from this slide, Kudzai's email is at the bottom. If you have your phone with you, I know we all probably have them within hand's reach. If you want to grab a little screenshot of that email below, Kudzai is one of our graduate student ambassadors, which I am going to talk about a little bit in this next section of next steps. So perhaps you're very early in this process. You have more questions than you have answers about what it is that you want to do. Our greatest resource that we have in the College of Engineering are students like Kudzai, who have stepped up into the role of graduate student ambassadors. They represent every program that we have in the College of Engineering, and they represent every campus that we have engineering programs in the network. They are the best resource we have to talk about the student experience, whether that is moving to a new country for the first time, finding an apartment, managing a new class load, making friends, any of those things that maybe exist out of some of the more academic type of questions you might have, or the more technical questions you have about the process. They're here to really talk about how they did things and be a support for students at any point in their journey to Northeastern. You can find them all over, lots of different ways to get in contact. That QR code that you see on screen, another great opportunity to screen grab that right now, will take you to our ambassador website on that first bullet that we've got there. You can see everyone listed by program and campus, and find their contact information, find useful blogs that they've written or content that they've put out for students. Really great resource right there. You can also find them on social media. We're on Instagram, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Weibo, and WeChat. And we also just launched our graduate ambassador Red Note platform as well. I know that's a little bit more niche to certain areas, but we're really excited to have that for students that are a part of that platform. They also respond to just a regular old email, if that sounds like the way that you want to go. There's an inquiry form on our COE admission page, and you can also email them at that coeambassadors@northeastern.edu email address there. Sort of the next step after you've gathered a little bit more information about Northeastern, you're ready to put in that application. You got to think about the dates that those are due for. So we are currently recruiting for our spring 2026 and our fall 2026 set of starts. So starts in January, and then the following fall will be the next 2 start times that you could select for beginning a program. The spring one, since that's coming up first, you'll see at the bottom, August 15th, October 1, and December 1 are all of the deadlines based on either your domestic status, your international status, or if you're international in the US or Canada. Just sort of depends on where you are. Some of those international deadlines come up a little bit sooner. just because the process for visa approval, PAL approval, which I know is very unique to our Canadian campuses, we just want to make sure you have plenty of time to get all of that lined up and everything will work. Our domestic deadline is that December 1 to be able to start in January, just because don't have quite as far to go. For fall 2026, you can see the above. No one in this conversation, I think, needs to be worrying about the PhD if you're looking at Toronto. So you can take that deadline off of your mind. But January, June, July, and August are the corresponding dates from there. That can also be found on our COE website if you're worried about taking all that down. And then the admissions requirements, once you figure out when you're getting that application in, when you would like to start your program, the application itself would be the next step. It's a very exciting time, I think, in the College of Engineering, because we have eliminated the application fee for our spring 26 and fall 26 applications, trying to take down as many barriers to entry as possible there and make it as accessible as possible for students to put in those applications. So there is no fee waiver code that I will give you at the end of this. I know some people hop on thinking they're going to get one, because if you're submitting a master's degree for us, you don't need one. It's free. The rest of the application, I would say pretty standard to the graduate application process if you are familiar with it. 2 letters of recommendations, your unofficial transcripts. We don't need the official ones till later down the pipeline. Statement of purpose, and your resume and English proficiency scores based on your undergrad location of study. All the info about the English proficiency can also be found on our website, just because I know there's a lot of stipulations to that for certain schools and campuses. I'd also like to highlight that we are currently GRE optional in the College of Engineering for all engineering programs. So you do not need to take that test or send it to us if you already have. Again, trying to make it as accessible as possible, looking at students as full applicants and not just a test score. So another thing I would love to highlight here that is unique to our global campus network and unique to our Canadian campuses right now is the scholarship opportunities on these campuses. Because they are smaller campuses, they have their own unique approach to funding that is available. So with the College of Engineering, any student who puts in an application is automatically going to be considered for our Dean's Scholarship. The sooner you get that application in, the better chance you have of qualifying for that Dean's Scholarship. But if you're looking at one of these campuses, such as Toronto, you qualify for our 25% regional campus scholarship for the College of Engineering, which is a stackable tuition scholarship offered to all students in our master's program on our regional campuses. You can see all of the campuses that apply there. I think Toronto is an excellent campus, all things considered, in this webinar to be considering for that scholarship as well. And I do want to note that it is a stackable scholarship here. So if you go onto the College of Admissions or the admissions page for the College of Engineering, I need another cup of coffee. Can you tell? If you go onto that page, you'll see a number of different scholarships that are available based on a couple of different factors that come in, from financial hardship to home country location. All of those are listed on our website for varying degrees of tuition waivers, essentially. So those can stack with this regional scholarship up to 50%. That is, so you can get all of them up to 50. It cannot exceed that at that point, but you can do a significant amount of increasing of this 25% based on your individual situation. So again, the COE is constantly looking for ways to create funding and opportunity for students, and we're really excited about this scholarship opportunity on the regional campuses as a reflection of that. That's going to bring us to the end. This is the last slide that I recommend you maybe grab a screenshot of before we move into our Q&A. That is just for any sort of question that might come up regarding the admissions process if you start looking at putting an application in. The www.coe.northeastern.edu is going to take you to all things College of Engineering. Very easy to toggle to Toronto-specific programs from there. Cyber physical systems information, any of that kind of stuff you can find pretty readily from our graduate admissions website. The application link is below, but you can also find that on the COE grad page. And then I just want to highlight the admissions office email. It's that second from the bottom line. That is an inbox monitored by myself and a number of other graduate admissions recruiters, just answering any questions that you come in that are a little bit more application specific than you might ask, say, a student ambassador like Kudzai. So definitely take advantage of that one. If you have any questions in the process, we're always happy to answer any student questions that we can. And yeah, I think that brings us to the Q&A at this portion. So if you've got any questions that you'd like to throw in there, feel free to. I do know Michael and Kutsai have maybe been keeping an eye on things in there, but we do have a couple of minutes left to answer any questions. PhD. So the application fee, the no application fee only applies to master's programs at this time. PhDs sit under a different umbrella of recruitment right now, and I believe that they are working potentially on the approval of a PhD waiver code, but I know it doesn't exist right now. We'll have more digital events in the fall that are going to come up and potentially have the opportunity for it there. But as of right now, that is housed with someone else. I'm really just here to talk about some master's programs, unfortunately. But yes, definitely keep an eye out on COE. If you see us on the road, we might have an update at that time. But got a couple thumbs up coming through. So thank you for that, everybody. And I don't really see anything else coming through the chat right now. Thank you all for answering questions as we went.
Maybe if I could ask a question, maybe just to inspire some of our guests to ask questions of their own. And this is for Kudzai. I know you talked a little bit earlier about your courses and how your first semester is going. On the recruiting side, when we talk to a lot of prospective students, certainly students coming to a new city for the first time, and maybe looking at housing accommodations, there's this sort of anxiety about I need to find something next to campus because I need to be there all day, every day, which is not the case. So can you talk a little bit about schedule wise, like what can students expect in terms of how many days a week are you on campus? What is my commitment level look like? And maybe that could help sort of ease some anxiety. As I mentioned earlier, we have a number of students that live well outside the city of Toronto. If they're only coming into campus a couple of days a week, and doing the majority of their work sort of, homework, if you will. Talk a little bit about what that schedule and commitment level looks like, if you can.
Okay, thanks, Michael. Yeah, so I would say, given my example, because I commute from another city that is called Barrie. So Barrie is approximately about 120 kilometers from the campus. But for me, commuting from Barrie to Toronto is not that hard because I have a direct train that comes from Barrie and it comes all the way to Toronto at the Union Station. So for those that don't know, the Union Station is like your central hub for all the trains that branch going north, west, east, south of the Greater Toronto area. So for those who feel like I need to stay close to the university, I mean, it's an option, but you can also stay outside the city because the transit system is got a predefined schedule. So you find like if you want to reside a little bit further from the campus, you shouldn't worry about the transport because you already have a good transit system. You've got trains that are always on schedule. You also have websites that tell you exactly what's happening. The bus system is also functional. And I think for those who stay in Toronto, you do have um, Uber. You also have Lyft. These are like your ride sharing platforms that you can also use. And if you plan to stay in Toronto, you can also hire, what do you call them, the bikes, you know, those electric bikes that you can literally hire. And I think the commitment in terms of navigating around the city, um, I would say, like in my instance, I came from a country where these systems do not exist, you know. But when you come here, you then realize that you've got so many options to get you by. And the chances of getting lost are very minimal because Google Maps works as it's supposed to do. And there's a lot of I think also the other thing that's quite good in Toronto is the signage. You know, everything has got labels. The streets have labels. There are directional arrows. Yeah, generally the people around in Toronto, you know, they're quite friendly. So if you ask, people are willing to help. In addition to all the, you know, all the branding that will be there. So yeah, for people who wish to stay outside the city, it's also a good possibility. It's also a nice possibility because you gain the advantage of uh, experience with the bigger city and also experience with the smaller cities. So I would say, you know, go for it. Don't be scared to reside in other areas. Um, I think the whole system is designed in a manner that works. So yeah, I think that's my experience. I go to the campus like twice a week, and you know, if you can get a part-time job, you know, it's quite flexible. Other programs, probably they may only have like one class per week, so it just depends on the program that anyone would be interested in. But I think the best part is there's a lot of flexibility. Yeah.
That's great. I think we maybe have time for one more question, and I don't see anything in the Q&A, so I'm gonna take advantage and use a question. But as someone who has never been to Toronto, I would love both Kudzai and Michael your recommendation on your favorite thing to do in Toronto, either food wise or a coffee shop. If there's like an event or a park, where would you suggest someone goes their first time they go to Toronto?
Kudzai, do you want to start?
Yeah. So I would say first start with the CN Tower. It's a good
Okay.
starter. Yeah, I think there's a place called the CN Tower. It's one of the tallest towers probably in the world. Um, I think the experience that you get when you go to the CN Tower, it's unique. And there is also, you know, around the city, you can also visit Rogers Center. It's a massive stadium, which usually hosts a lot of sports there. And, you know, you can also visit Scotiabank Arena again. Yeah, and all these places are within the city. Then if we're talking about the cuisines and the restaurants, oh my God, they're just lots. You can't even finish them. So I would just say within the city center, you'll be good.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Michael, do you concur? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I would echo that. I mean, it's as I say, it's a world-class city. It's a major sports city as well too. So when you sort of it's akin to like a New York or a Boston where they've got major sports teams across different leagues. So whether you like hockey or baseball or football, we have our sort of theater district, which is really right next to the campus. So if you like Broadway shows, we have those available in Toronto. The cuisine, again, the most multicultural city in the world, you would expect there to be cuisine from all parts of the world, and it's world class. For me, I mean, I like the waterfront. The campus is situated very close to the waterfront. So if you're more outdoorsy, you like nature, there's bikes and walking paths all along the waterfront. It spans from the downtown core really all the way out to the suburbs. So depending on how active or fit you are, there's the right path for you. And then of course just sort of the restaurants and you know breweries and things all along the waterfront that you can just take in and enjoy the beautiful summers. going on right now in Toronto, the last 2 weeks of the summer. There's a festival or fair called the Canadian National Exhibition, which is held on the exhibition grounds. So this is effectively, it started out as an agricultural fair many, many years ago, but it has sort of blossomed to your carnival and special event shows and food buildings and attractions for kids. There's concerts, there's all sorts of activities, and that goes right up until till Labor Day. So if you're arriving to Toronto prior to the start of your fall classes, you must check out the Canadian National Exhibition, because after September 1st, it's gone until next summer. So that would be an attraction to check out as well.
Oh my gosh, that's great. I took them all down. I can't wait for the next time I go to Toronto. I hope everyone else did the same. I think one last question came through. I'm a little unclear on the portion of the question about unofficial transcripts. That can come directly from your university. I know you have an option to get your unofficial transcripts and scan them and add them up. It can just be an unofficial transcript, and then we just get that official one later. So I'm not quite sure on the portion of the question about French documents, but you can also shoot us an email at COE-gradadmissions if that didn't answer your question. And there is no fee waiver for master's programs because there is no fee.
Yeah, I think just to add on to the French, just maybe clarity, maybe they may need them translated.
Oh, that's a much better guess than what mine was.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
too early for me, Kudzai. I'm not firing in all cylinders yet. There are a couple of different options that I think are listed for services that we accept on the COE website. So you can find that there. And again, if you have any questions, just send us an email. I do think that puts us at time, everybody. I just want to say thank you again to Michael and Kudzai for all of their insight and their time this morning. They've got me really excited about Toronto. I'm looking for any excuse to go now. And thank you all for spending your morning with us. I know you have a lot of options when you're looking at your higher education needs, and we really hope Northeastern is one of them and that you'll put in an application. So everyone have a great weekend.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. Thank you.